Alright, it's finally done. Ooh, it took me like 3 years to finish this. Where did the time go? I feel old. Anyway, welcome to my first ever bonus video. There will not be many of these because how you expect me to make a fun bonus facts about this? But because this was certainly special, I wanted to make a small compilation of cut content, fun facts and my certain talks on the videos. Yeah, you will also hear an improvement in the audio. The room doesn't have an echo problem like in my apartment, so recorded voices will be much better in here. Before continuing, I wanna thank Bernie and Iris for being there to help me test watch these. Because I have never told this, but I usually put my brother to proof watch these videos. The problem is that he doesn't like anime or anything related to it. He won't proof watch my Toho videos, so having these two made things easier. Let's start off with the cut content, because the third part had lots of it. First off, I got lots of script because I thought they sounded stupid or just didn't feel right. I had mentioned like that Miko wasn't the bad guy or something like that, but because I thought it was just going to be too far into the example, I decided to cut it. I have a very bad memory, so while I recorded this joke, where Ichirin went to beat up Marisa with onion ring, I forgot to add it to the video. Before continuing, I wanna say that I really like Sets. He has this really unique style and his Toho comics are really hilarious, so I had to mention him there. There were some other jokes that I just thought was too unfunny and break the pace, so I cut them. And not many of you know, but making changes in middle of the video is very painful. It might take you long to make the changes, so that's why I didn't add the Marisa joke. Also, while I recorded the Boomer Rumia joke, I made a funny mistake. Back in my day we weren't such pussies that were afraid of fighting to death. Slurp. I honestly debated internally should I keep this in the video, but ultimately decided to leave it here. I also planned for a montage of moments from Osana, Reimu and Reimu, but thought that will drag the video's pace and I ultimately left it out. And while I recorded some lines here, somehow my mic decided to make it sound like this. The girl that kept the mask on until the very end, she took it off and I was real. The last goodbye to Miko. Yukari will never forget her, and neither will I. I have no idea why it sounds like that. Maybe it's because I didn't have the thing in front of it? I honestly don't know. Part 3 should have been out like 3 weeks ago, but life threw its friends into my plans. Heh, get it? First off, I was planning to go back home after being in the city for a few weeks. But what happened was that I was put into quarantine. I put my PC into home so I didn't need to worry about moving it. So I spent my quarantine in my Minecraft server building stuff. Here are some pictures of the server. And when I got back home to work on it, my dad needed help, so I worked like 2 hours per day on the video and just didn't have motivation to work more right after work. And when I was nearing the finish, let's just say an incident happened in my family and I didn't work on the videos for like a few days. So, fun facts. You like facts? I like facts. So I have calculated that if you were to watch Osana Reimu duology with all their credits, it will take you almost 5 hours to watch them all. With the recap, it will take an hour and a half, length of an animated film. Kinda crazy how much effort I put into this series. I never really planned on how long they will take, I usually let them take their shapes freely. I spent probably around an hour and a half in total in finding all the songs, and wow, was it hard. I usually just play some songs I find in YouTube, but I had to venture out to multiple times to sites like Nico video to find the track, and some of the times I was so frustrated when the music track wasn't anymore available. And as soon as I was finishing part 3, I found one of the most beautiful tracks from Reimu, which I wanted to use in part 2. So that's totally not irritating. I also wanted to use some other game modes like Ancestors Gauntlet from Sly 3, which is an awesome song, but I never really found a place to put it, so I replaced it with Osana Reimu's Oath. The Osana Reimu recap took me 6 months to make because I was still pretty new to writing longer videos, and honestly it was quite a milestone for me. To this day it's still my longest video ever made. The second spot takes the third part, and the second part takes the third spot. So what happened is that I was slow to write and was demotivated multiple times. Also I had lots of anxiety about whether the video would fail and everyone would dislike my half year of work. But turns out people liked it. But what made me make the recap series? Well, this is a fun thing, because I listened to this track in the Oath. I wanted to use it in my videos, but I couldn't find a natural way to put it in. So I decided why the fuck not make a recap if it'll be quick and short. And how wrong I was. At the time I wasn't exactly sure if I wanted to cover the sequel, but I am so glad that I did. After the Osana Reimu recap, I took a break and finally decided to take a shot at Reimu like a year later and did the first part. Out of 3 parts, the first part has to be my favorite. It's sweet and short, has quite good jokes, and I gave very well my talk. At the time I decided to split Reimu into 3 parts because 2 reasons. 1. I hate working on something too long and I have more stuff to upload. Oh, how funny it is when I look at the 2 later parts. This whole video is just gonna be me looking at my younger self. Also, I mentioned during part 1 I got 2 FUMOs. Well, I got 3rd one. The interesting part is that I never really brought up the fact that Reimu might be someone else's child. So that's why she doesn't have a forking fantasy nature. But obviously it was just her not being honest to herself, so I didn't find a reason to bring it up. So part 1 was quite well made, and the second part was pretty fun to work on. It had the shortest work time on my longer videos, only taking a week to work on. While I was glad that it only took a week to make, it really does show. It doesn't have anything special editing and none of my SVM kits. If I ever decide to make this full series into a bundle, I honestly add some few sketches in there. I also should have mentioned more about Miko having big influence on the story even after her death, but usually it happens right after the video's done, which is funny. Also, at the time, this was my second longest video I've ever done. Well, not anymore after the release of part 3. Part 3 was something that I wanted to get work on. It would be something special. The end of Reimu trilogy. The end of Osana Reimu recap series. I wanted so badly to work on it. In fact, that once I was done with Ancient Gods review, I went straight to work into this one. And I kinda made the same mistake like with part 2. The editing was top notch. Had lots of fun jokes and SVM moments and exciting intro, but the script suffered. I kinda left lots of grammatical errors and the ending talks felt a bit rushed. But honestly, part 3 was really fun to work on despite me not being entirely happy with the script. This was the first ever video to include source filmmaker and Gmod in the same video outside my usual avatar, so it's quite fun. I was gonna use this artwork I made with help of Mate as the ending screen, but I knew this should have its own dedicated artwork. I will release the ending screen, so if you ever want to use it, go ahead. Just remember not to claim it as your own and you'll be golden. I really love Osana Reimu and its sequel, but if I had to choose which one I like more, it has to be the first one. I know it has the element of surprise on its side, and I love the interactions between Big Rumi and Hakurei family. But Reimu is still a good sequel. If you still aren't convinced to watch them, I don't know what to say, you're missing out very much. I want to say that the video series on Osana Reimu has been very teaching experience. I learned a lot about my creativity and my limits and teach me a few things. Like even if the script is like 8 pages long and you just want to finish project, you should correct your mistakes and at least work on a longer project 2 weeks to have some decent effects. Now, I'm not promising anything, but after I learned that Joy made a story about Cousin, I kinda wanted to make a video about it. Obviously I will not do the same recap. It will be like in the style of good, bad, trash or just plain review. Because as much I love making the recap series, I really don't want it to be too long because soon I have to go to army and I will hate to put it on hold. Maybe after army I'll think about taking a shot at it. Before I end this video, I wanna say one final thing. And that is fuck you mate. I was right and you were wrong. Osana Reimu duology was worth the effort and I will fucking do it again if I need to. I wonder what he want to join in my future video.